In the end, Bill Brady did not wait for the final vote count. He conceded defeat in the race for governor. Good evening, I'm Bob Sirott.
And I'm Marianne Murciano. Robin Robinson is off tonight. Also, Governor Quinn joins us to talk about the election and lunch with Senator Brady. Plus, Rod Blagojevich.
First, though, Bill Brady has ended his quest to be governor.
It happened this afternoon with a concession call to Governor Pat Quinn. Brady admitted that even with several thousand absentee and military ballots outstanding, it would be virtually impossible to overcome Quinn's 19,000 vote advantage from Tuesday's election.
When Pat Quinn took that call from Brady, he says he did something inspired by Mark Kirk and Alexei Janulius. The former Senate opponents had that now famous Billy Goat Beer Summit the day after the election. So Governor Quinn says he invited Bill Brady to lunch. It's been a long time since Governor Quinn has had a weekend to relax.
He seemed happy and relieved when he came by our studios tonight. We asked him how it felt to come back from being an accidental governor to winning a full term. .com.
Quinn won, but a lot of Democrats lost in Tuesday's midterm election. Some are blaming outgoing Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Pelosi says she still wants to be the Democratic leader. Tonight, former Governor Rod Blagojevich told cable's Fox Business Network that President Obama is to blame for Democratic losses, not Pelosi.
And I think what the White House unfortunately is doing, and they're trying to shift the blame and the responsibility of what happened on Tuesday, is to make her appear to be the embodiment of everything that's liberal and terrible in America. I'm not saying that the Democratic caucus should necessarily re-elect her. I'm saying she has every right to run again.
Then Blagojevich was asked if, despite his coming retrial on corruption charges, he'd consider a comeback. His answer shows he still harbors a love for politics and Elvis.
Are you ever running for anything again?
Well, I'm not ruling out a comeback, and let me just say, in your previous segment, you had the song Return to Sender with Elvis. That was in the movie Girls, 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 filmed in Hawaii, and his co-star was Stella Stevens.
The anchors then cut Blagojevich off before he had a chance to start singing Elvis songs. Probably a good thing. Don't I know you from somewhere?
Have we met? Yeah. It's been 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and apparently Bill and Walter were tied up at Channel 2, so they brought this anchor team back together again. Yeah, the last time you were on television,
May 11th of the year 2000, I left here and went straight to the hospital and had a baby.
Yes, I recall that. And you have never...
I was fat. I was so fat.
You were in the family way. You've never been on HD television
No,
before.
I haven't.
This is the first. There was barely color when we did the morning show together.
Right.
But by the way, I must say, I don't know if you've looked at the monitor. You look tremendous in HD.
I have no
Do you want to
idea
see
what
yourself?
I look like. Yes,
yeah,
I'd
take
like
a look.
to, yeah.
Sean, put the shot up, the close-up of Marianne. Look at how high definition works. It's tremendous. Coming up.
I love HD.
Next on Fox Chicago News, a police officer's life-saving mission.
He's talking tonight about how he came to the aid of a mother in distress.
Window, and she had yelled out the window, "My child is not breathing, help me, help me."
Fox.
Apparently I had Bozo's makeup by mistake that morning.
That was back in the day when you had red hair. How did we get, did we actually get President Carter to wake up early and come in
There he
to
is.
the studio?
On the Fox Thing set. I actually threw a 16-inch softball to him. Remember that?
And then he asked you if he could keep it.
Right. It's in plain somewhere. Yeah, and I think I may have broken the finger of a former president of the United States. A group of doctors has launched a war on fast food. It's called the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. It's produced a controversial new commercial that begins airing tomorrow, and its members are even complaining to Mayor Daley. Joni Lum is at the flagship McDonald's downtown tonight with more. Joni?
Hi, Bob. This group claims, it's McDonald's, of course, based in our area. The group claims that Chicago has the second highest number of fast food restaurants per person, and it wants Mayor Daley to ban any new fast food joints from opening in the city. Well, the people we talked to say that McDonald's and other fast food have a place in their diet.
I just try and stay away from it.
It'll be like a once in a while splurge if I'm like running to work.
I actually hate McDonald's and most fast food places. I'm a vegetarian.
I probably get it quite frequently, honestly. I mean, it's obviously not the most healthy thing, but it's there, it's convenient.
The group's new commercial will be seen mostly on cable. It features a man lying in a morgue with a burger in his hand. It ends with a twist on McDonald's well-known "I'm loving it" slogan. A Chicago cardiologist says the ad might be shocking, but for health reasons, she hopes people will get the message.
You are what you eat, and that's what I tell my patients. If you don't start exercising and losing weight and stop eating bad foods, it will get to your heart. And so I think the message is clear. What you eat can kill you.
And late tonight, a McDonald's spokeswoman called the commercial outrageous, misleading, and unfair, and said the company trusts customers to make food and lifestyle choices that are right for them. We talked to a few Chicago aldermen. None of them had heard about this proposed moratorium on fast food restaurants, Bob.
They will. Joni Alum, downtown tonight. Thanks.
A Chicago police officer's CPR training 15 years ago has paid off. Tonight, he's being honored for saving the life of a 2-year-old boy.
I told him thank you, because maybe if he didn't was there, maybe my baby died.
And I saw a vehicle behind me flashing its lights and blowing its horn, driving erratically. I slowed down. This vehicle pulled alongside me, and the mother of the child was in the back seat. The husband was driving. I rolled down to my passenger window, and she had yelled out the window, "My child is not breathing. Help me, help me."
Officer Thomas Norberg called for an ambulance and then gave 2-year-old Sergio Martinez Real. That got him breathing again. Today, Norberg, who has 2 boys of his own, gave Sergio a Chicago police T-shirt. He says in 15 years of serving and protecting, he's never done anything quite like this.
I was at the right spot at the right time, and I was glad to help. I'll never forget this for as long as I live.
The boy's mother says she now considers Norberg part of her family.
We like those stories. Still to come here, Dr. Oz live, as opposed to what?
Yeah, as opposed to the alternative.
He's here, and I have many questions.
I know you do, Bob.
And we'll also tell you how you can see Dr. Oz in person tomorrow. That's next.
98, Beverly. Where's Beverly? Hey, Chicago, I'm coming to the Windy City for the Dr. Oz Health Expo at Millennium Park. Take the Just 10 Challenge. Step onto the Fox Chicago stage to ask me anything. And join celebrity chefs in the Dr. Oz Dinner Club. You're going to cook tasty 500-calorie meals. So go to DrOz.com for more info.
Sponsored by Walgreens. There's a way to stay well. Get Fox Chicago news and weather straight to your phone. Yeah, there's an app for that.
Now, that campaign worked for a while. It was 7 years. It worked for about 7 years, and that was it.
Well, yeah, and then
they fired us.
And then they fired us.
That's exactly what happened. Remember the fights about that campaign, too. I'm surprised it didn't happen then. A new study suggests a screening for lung cancer can help save lives. It's called a spiral CT scan. Doctors say it can detect lung cancer much earlier than standard X-rays. Patients who have one can lower the risk of lung cancer deaths, we're told, by 20%.
And Dr. Oz is here with us tonight, and good to be with you again. How big of a breakthrough are those scans?
Well, it's important, it's meaningful, but let's be clear on what they did. They studied folks who had been heavy smokers or were still smoking who were between the ages of 55 and 75. And then they found out that CT scans are more accurate than chest x-rays, which is not new news, and you can therefore get a head start on treating cancer. However, the actual number of lives they saved was about a 7% difference. And the real question you have to ask yourself, is that the best way to prevent yourself from getting lung cancer? The most common cancer we get, and the one that makes us nervous for that reason. But I would argue stopping smoking is a pretty good step at the beginning. And I also want to be cautious about introducing tests like this that offer a lot of false negatives. And by that I mean, and false positives, which means you get 25% of the time a result that makes you get a surgery, a biopsy, something that's invasive into your chest where you don't really have a problem. So it becomes very expensive for the system. And plus, the x-rays themselves, if they're CT scans or a lot of radiation, they'll probably cause cancers as well.
So be careful, and this isn't the final answer by any stretch of the
It's a
imagination.
great start. I'm happy we have a study. If you're a heavy smoker, it probably is the way to go, but there's no panacea, and without any question, the better pathway is to stop the cigarettes.
Dr. Oz is in Chicago with the Health Expo he's running, complete with some of the features that you see him do on TV. It's tomorrow from 9 to 5, Millennium Park, Michigan and Randolph. Your chance to get free health screenings, and you're going to have sort of a mini 500-calorie version of Taste of Chicago there, aren't you?
I've got the whole thing set up. A bunch of Art Smith's coming. Guess what he's bringing? Elmo. Elmo's there for the kids, and he's going to be cooking. My daughter Daphne I brought out. She's going to be cooking stuff for the young ones. The 500-calorie meals are going to be inexpensive meals as well, and we're going to hand out thousands of them so folks can taste them. We've got real organs. We've got a truth tube. We're going to figure out how old your body thinks you are. I'm going to be giving some talks, and most importantly, we're going to screen a lot of people tomorrow and find out what their big numbers are. What are their cholesterol numbers? Their blood sugar levels? What are their blood pressures? We already screened about 10,000 people through the DrOz.com site, and if you can't make the expo, then please come to the site. We'll come to you and make sure you get it. But for the 1,000+ people who get it tomorrow at the expo, I'm optimistic we're going to save a lot of lives.
What are you going to do with all those real organs?
You know, what I love about organs is people can't divorce themselves from reality. I take cigarette smoking. We just talked about it with that CT study. If you're a smoker, I never tell people who are smoking to stop smoking. They know that already. I tell them, listen, I care about you. I just want you to care about yourself as much as I care about you. And if that doesn't work, then I show you what a lung looks like of a smoker. And you see the tar deposition, the emphysematous moth-eaten areas. When you see that, you can't run from that.
All right, because you have such great advice and you know how to get to people, I need to ask you a couple of things about Bob. I like to make healthy foods, and he could live on bread and pasta. How do I teach him how to eat better?
Well, the problem with breads and pastas is that you think you're being filled. They're bromelated. They've been processed. They don't have any of the key nutrients. They strip away the bran and the key elements of the grain that used to have nutrient benefits for humans. So the problem with all those white foods, and they include, by the way, white sugar and the white rices and the white pastas, as well as the white grains, is that your brain sees that you're getting calories, but your brain doesn't care about that, Bob. Your brain cares about